Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. Rather loud. I'm trying to engineer this show here from home. And there we go. Finally got it to stop. I couldn't lower no matter what I did, the clip itself, the volume would not lower. So anyway, regardless, we are here on Everything Old is New Again with Jim Phelps himself, David Cohen.
Jim Phelps?
Where's he from? Any idea? I just
no
played
idea.
Song. Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay.
He's the main character.
Don't know
right?
the characters. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Jim Phelps.
Special coronavirus edition.
Exactly.
Of Everything Old is New Again, right?
Correct. It's upon us. The nationwide quarantine is in effect, and like everyone else out there, Everything Old is New Again is searching for the cure. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is not only to continue entertaining the world, but to try to help in a small way to resolve the angst, frustration, stress, possible boredom of our times. David Cohen, do we accept that mission?
That mission is accepted.
All right, good, because we've made some arrangements, and we're going to bring some entertaining radio guests to you in the future, just so we get an idea. We've got David Pollack coming back, a household name, of course, Emmy Award-winning writer of Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore, The Monkees, and more. Irv Hyatt is coming on board. David Cohen, I know it's even less known to you than...
They're rolling right off the tongue, yes, huh?
The Wheeler
cavalcade of stars.
Wheeler and Woolsey's an expert there.
The idea, Doug, is to get people to listen to the show.
He actually might be less famous than Wheeler and Woolsey, and we have a this gentleman by the name of Irv Bennett, who is...
right, Irv Bennett talking about Wheeler and Woolsey, yes.
Correct. Irv Hyatt, actually.
Very entertaining, though.
Yes, it's going to be a terrific couple of shows. We're going to talk about Wheeler and Woolsey and figure out who are they and what are they all about, and how were they so popular as to actually save a movie studio in the 30s from going under. And we've never heard of them. And also, you do have a star of some note, you'd say. Eddie Munster himself, Butch Patrick, is coming on board.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be cool.
We've got David Soul from Starsky and Hutch to finish our Starsky and Hutch routine. And we've made some technical arrangements to ensure that there is no interruption in the weekly presentation of our show at all. There has never been and never will be any rerun of Everything Old is New Again on your radio. How about that?
Even during these stressful and trying times,
correct,
we're still coming to you with fresh new shows, right?
Exactly. And even more than that, we have back David Cohen, the best co-host in radio, and he's not going anywhere now. He's sequestered in New York City. He cannot leave that apartment, and the microphone works, so we will be tethering into New York City to gather his thoughts and appreciation of America's pop culture.
Yes, hopefully coming to you from hopefully what is now the apex of the outbreak here in New York City. But all is well here in my household, and hopefully all is well with you out there as well.
Exactly. Together we're going to bring you, again, the best original appointment radio that you can tune into. This week we're going to discuss some old school and new school ideas as to help entertain, educate, and bring even some fun to the home. Sans clips, by the way. So what say you, David? Are you ready to dive in and try to have the cure for the days?
I love it when you speak French. I can't tell you what it does to me. And especially that accent you use. Sans clips.
So what are you doing at home now? I know that food is at a premium. Food is difficult. There's very little in the way of deliveries. Although I will say to you, this is not for New York City, but for my little square of the world here.
Well, tell listeners, remind listeners where you are.
Yeah, I'm out in East Northport, Long Island, which is about 30 miles or so from 25 miles from New York City. We are a little more suburban, of course, and we can go ahead and shop elsewhere, but most people now want to have things delivered in. Peapod and Fresh Direct both do not delivering anywhere. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why they're not hiring more people. I don't know what's going on, but they're not delivering. So people are giving up and getting frustrated. What you can do, there are always these local grocery stores, these specialty markets and so forth, these local smaller places. They all, from what I've seen around me, call them up, Bob's Grocery, whatever, and they are delivering. So if you are, freaked out and don't want to go to the grocery store, try that. I mean, it's just because it's not online doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to do what needs to be done. You do have to know what you want, but you're not going to get the exact thing you want. If you want to get paper towels, you can't say I want Bounty or what have you. They'll get you whatever they got in stock, but they'll deliver to you. And for some people, that's a big advantage. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, we don't have that luxury here in New York City. No one's really delivering anything. Unless you're doing like takeout specific meals. But in terms of groceries, you basically have to go out on your own. But what you were mentioning before I think is important, that if there are small grocery stores, not your big chains necessarily, try those, because I'm finding, especially here in the city, that there's a health food store a few blocks away and they have most everything I need, and they're not as crowded as some of the bigger stores, the bigger chains. Especially like a Trader Joe's, things of that nature. So look out for that too. There might be a way to, if you do need to go out, you sort of get in and out pretty fast with not a lot of other people there.
Right, exactly, and it's a good idea to sort of help your neighbors. Not that the big franchises aren't your neighbors, but the neighborhood business also could really use help at this time. That's for sure. Now we know David Cohen's got the gourmet touch over there. I know he had oatmeal for breakfast. That was really the gourmet touch there, number one. I'm making fun of him. And number two, for lunch, I think you've got some bananas lined up, maybe some bananas with peanut butter on them. Is that what?
Yeah, the cupboard's getting bare. There's some cat food that hasn't expired yet. Thinking of throwing a little cinnamon on that, see how that goes.
At this point, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner actually is, with maybe some chips on the side, is a nice little option.
Ow, that's a 5-star right there.
Well, how about this? I want to just talk about something that happened to us this weekend, and I want to give a shout out, if they call it that, to, if you go to Facebook and look up Elwood Cares Social Distance Celebration on Facebook, you will see what I'm talking about, and maybe someone can start this in your own neighborhood just for kicks. My kids have birthdays in April. No one is leaving the house. No one's having parties and so forth. So this woman who started this about a week ago, I thought this was amazing. I just had found out about it, and I signed up very easily and briefly and said my daughter's birthday is this Saturday. She said, okay, fine, we're all set. I didn't really know what to expect. What this is, our neighbors, and people are looking to get out anyway. It's sort of fun to get out. But neighbors are bringing their kids in the car, and they're going ahead and driving by your house, hitting the horns. And you okay over there, David? What's going on?
No, there's dogs barking. I was going to go close the window, but I didn't want to miss what you were saying.
Okay. Well,
keep going.
That's a small trip from going to Broadway shows to hearing dogs out the window as your entertainment. We've come a long way.
Yeah, at least I think they're barking a song, if I'm listening close enough. Either that or I'm just, the cabin fever is starting to get to me.
They're barking happy birthday. They're doing the caravans. And what's happening is the people are driving by with signs, with balloons, and hitting their horns driving by your house, and it's a virtual party. They had about 20-25 cars go by our house and then turn around, and of course your neighbors come out and they're on their the front lawns, and they've got signs and balloons, and they're waving happy birthday. So it's a nice little thing to do if, for a child that's having a birthday that cannot have a birthday party, for 15-20 cars that drive by of your neighbors waving and so forth, and you can see them, and there's this one, there's that one. It's kind of a kick.
And sorry, how do they know it's the birthday?
They know by you going onto the website, you sign up and become a member of the website, Elwood Cares, social distance celebration, and off you are to the races. And what a smile it put on her face, and we taped it and all. I mean,
cool.
The idea of someone starting this, and they do about 3 or 4 a day, especially on the weekends. And you got to see the videos, the heartwarming videos of kids that are surprised by this, and they did not expect it, and they see their friends driving by, and strangers, so to speak, neighbors that you don't even know who they are, but they're driving by to make this kid's day nice. I thought it was a fun idea and something
That's a great idea. What a great idea.
Yeah. So maybe, start that in your own neighborhood if you feel like it. I mean, I think it's a really fun. You don't have to go to every single one, but we're now going to go to a couple, and it's fun to get out and see the people
I would
surprised.
Hope so.
And,
I would hope you're going to return the favor.
Absolutely. It's going to build.
You're saying it like you're so magnanimous. I think we're actually going to go do that now.
A man of my stature. All right, we will be back right after this, and everything all is new again to continue talking all things quarantine and what we can do to have some fun.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Hello, this is Paul Michael Glazer. You may know me from Starsky and Hutch. I was the dark-haired one. I've been writing. I've got a book out called Crystalia and the Source of Light, which is on Amazon. And I've been painting, and I've been doing my thing, as I hope you've been doing your thing. And I am right now enjoying a really interesting conversation. Everything old is new again, so give it a listen.
Hi, this is David Soul. You're listening to Douglas Viviani and David Cohen, and everything old is new again. Take my word for it.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That David Soul clip kind of mixed up. I got to fix that. He said
That's
it really...
okay. Starsky and Hutch.
Yes.
That was great.
How about that? And we may have them as a reunion down the line together on the phone with us, and possibly Huggy Bear. So if you watched that show in the 70s, stay tuned. You may have some fun here. But we had some fun with those two gentlemen interviewing them, and David Soul was really upset, honestly, that he could not speak with David Cohen. It was unbelievable.
I know. What can I say? My street rap is really, really, really out there. People are just lining up to talk to me. Well, we'll catch them next time, and hopefully in the reunion when we get those guys together. That'll be great.
That'll be a lot of fun. And anyway, those are some of the past guests we've had on the show here, and we're trying to get through a little bit here of this quarantine and figure out what are we going to do. Well, how do you make things work here? How does this work for us when you're looking at the four walls, either yourself, with your family? Depends what's going on. Kids, no kids, whatever. There's lots of different things going on. But David Cohen, you've been sequestered, if you will, in New York City with your son. And so the two of you have been looking at the four walls. Have you thought of doing anything in the way of maybe like a Zoom to your parents and his grandparents or family members or anything like that?
Well, Zoom's a little too out there from my parents or my wife's parents, but as far as like technology, I don't think they would really get it. But I've been using Zoom a lot to chat with friends. You and I usually use Skype, but the concept is the same. So I find that I've actually been reaching out to people more that we're all being quarantined right now, or at least most of us, than before.
Right.
And, hooking up with friends more frequently now, even though it's virtually, than before this whole thing happened, which is kind of cool, right?
And you know what else is interesting? And I haven't tried it yet, but I've lined it up. I have a monthly card game. People may have heard this in the past with a couple of people, my brother and friends of mine that I go back all the way back to elementary school with. Even before David Cohen, which we met at 16, I go back to like kids that were we were 8 together. Anyway,
that must be why I'm not invited to this thing. So it predated me, I guess.
Exactly. But now here's the thing: I found a couple of sites that will host a card game online, so you don't have to deal it and whatever. And all of you can have your secretive cards. Cards you got to know what you have, and somebody else can't know what you have, so you can't show it on the screen. You need like a medium kind of to do this.
Wait, how does that work?
It's so there's like a hosting service, and they'll deal you the poker cards, and you play it on a Zoom-ish kind of screen. so you don't see your buddy's cards. You can really play poker, and it's not for money. You could just play for the fun of it and talk to each other, and as it's a virtual poker game. How fun is that?
We suspended our monthly game because just people couldn't get together anymore.
So, I never heard of that game either. So now we both have a monthly game that neither of us have invited to.
It slipped out.
Yeah, so try it. I'll send you the site.
All right, you're going to have to give me the website and this information
It's pretty
because
cool.
that's pretty exciting.
Now, for talk about grandparents, if they're a little bit savvy with the computer, you could set them up with, send them the link to. There's other ones where you could play checkers, chess. You could play Chinese checkers, as my parents like to play. So I'm
with
going to
them virtually?
Yeah, with a virtual game. So
oh, cool.
Now I don't know if that one has sound to it. Like, maybe you have to call them and have to be on the phone to talk to them at the same time for grandparents with Skype, whatever. But you could play the game online.
Oh, wow. You've got to post all these sites to the website.
I actually will do that. I did a lot of research on this because, who knows? This might be for another month for all we know. And
with the poker game, do they give you virtual chips?
Yes.
Also,
you definitely will know what's happening. And there's no cost for it. Of course, be careful because there are those sites where they're, real poker, like, the casino, and you can invite your friends to and whatever. But you got to spend real money on that. I guess you could do that too if you feel like it.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about just hosting a family game. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
How about, I know we're not all big Broadway fans, but just for people that are, Andrew Lloyd Webber just announced that on YouTube they're going to release every Friday a different Andrew Lloyd Webber play, which, listen, if you're a fan of it or not, it's a different story. But if you haven't seen any of these plays and you feel like watching, I don't know, Jesus Christ Superstar or whatever, Cats, what have you, besides watching the movies, which they've all been made into movies, you can see them live on, and they'll tape them, of course, on
and that's free.
On YouTube. And that's free. That's called The Shows, with an S, Must Go On. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Broadway or you're curious about it anyway, it's there for you. That's one thing I have. And now what about, like if you have kids, like they might drive you nuts a little bit during this time. I found a site, and I'm sure you have local museums by you too, but just for kicks, just as I have one here, and it's a local Huntington museum, or museum in my hometown, or our hometown. It's the Heckscher, Hecksher, Heckscher Museum of Art. Go to their website. Every Tuesday they have a young artist that is online at 3 o'clock, and they tape these so you can rewatch them. And they will do an art craft with your child. So Leo is really into art. So I'm going to try that with him. He's 7. He's 8 now. I'm going to try that with him this Tuesday and see if he gets a kick out of it. That's for free, and that's and boy, wouldn't it be nice to put your kid in front of the computer and be like get away and feel that he's or she is doing something with some decent supervision. Hopefully the scissors don't come out, but drawing and doing some artwork. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, as soon as Leo's done with the poker game, he can go and look at some art. That'd be great.
Exactly. I didn't think about that, but he's always wanted to come to the card games. Now he can. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. Teach him early how to bluff.
But also, Doug, that applies to adults too. I know there are major museums right now that are actually offering free online art history courses or art courses in general.
Yes.
So you can actually take classes online. I don't know if they're done live or if they're videos, but I know I'm pretty sure Museum of Metropolitan Art has one here in the city, and I'm sure wherever you're living, if there's a local museum, they certainly have something like that, or check out some of the national museums too, because that's something that, if you've been putting off going to a museum or getting into a subject like art, this is a good time, even if it's virtually only, to investigate and take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And another organization called the Great Courses, which Bob Breyer, a guest of ours on years ago, talked about Egypt. They're offering free courses as well. And I took one a little ways back. I've taken a lot since on art history. Never thought I'd be into it at all. It just fascinated for me for a second, like Wheeler and Woolsey. Like, what is this? Why do people even care about these paintings? And now to learn about it,
now you understand the relevance and their importance and the aesthetic of why people actually enjoy looking at them.
Exactly, and they were the movies of the back in the day. I mean, there's a lot going on in these paintings. It's really a kick. You like that?
the movies of the day.
They were. People would stand there and watch the. Well, anyway. So the point is,
but they never moved. You understand that?
Yeah,
right?
But they did in your mind. It was the theater of the mind. Now here's the idea: if you wanted to visit the Louvre, have you ever done that? By the way, David Cohen.
Yes.
All right. Well. Highfalutin gentleman that has been
I've
around
been
the
to
world.
Paris and I've been to the Louvre. What do you want from me?
All right. So for those of us who have not been to the Louvre and the other famous art museums in the world, they all have virtual tours. You can go from room to room. I forget the one in Florence. They've got there's another famous one in Florence, Italy, and you could Uffizi, I think it's called. You could go in from room to room, and you just are there. It's amazing. You don't need to travel anymore to go to these museums if you don't feel like it. It's right there. It's cool.
Yeah, and were those going on before this whole thing came down, or was this something relatively new?
I'd have to say it's got to be before, but they've made it available or people are aware of it, because you couldn't just turn the button and turn this on right now the way they're doing. I mean, you're literally like a video game walking through the halls, and you see a painting, you want to turn to the left, you turn to the left, you want to get closer, you get closer, you want to get a description of what it is, you click on whatever, and it clicks and it gives you a whole description. It's really as if you're there. Awesome. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, and it's not just artwork, it's sculptures, it's you can go to the history stuff and see King Tut and all different things online. So you really get lost in
of the 13th century.
Exactly. The everything old is new again of the 13th century. How about? Oh no, we're almost out of time. I've got a minute here. Do you have any others real quick? I'll do one quick because it's only a minute we have left, and we'll come back and can talk about more. This probably not can do in the city. May not be able to do this in the city too much, but we're out and about riding bikes. David Cohen.
Oh yeah, we can do that. They're allowed.
Yeah, well, okay, there you go. So go out, but I don't know how crowded it is. Maybe it's not. The streets are probably not too crowded, right?
Well, we have a park where you can ride. It's closed to traffic, so yeah, absolutely, it's a great idea. Even if you're just riding around your neighborhood, you don't have access to a park, but just going around the neighborhood, it's great exercise.
Absolutely. And David Cohen, you saw when the kids, I trained or got the training wheels off of the kid's bicycle 2 weeks ago, and I sent out videos all over to everybody I knew. We were all excited. And David Cohen, what was your impression of that when you saw me actually on Leo's little bicycle riding around?
Yeah, the first thing I thought when I saw you on your kid's bike was, oh, I feel bad for that bike. It didn't break, did it?
I puffed up those wheels pretty good, too. A lot of air in the tires. And it was fun because it was good to get out and about. So now once that happens and you go as a family out, they look forward to it every day at 4 o'clock. We're out.
And yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect thing to do. It gets you out of the house, breaks up the monotony, gets the blood flowing, and the endorphins going, and keeps up that positive attitude.
Right. And if you see anybody walking by, you just wave. You don't have to worry about the social distancing because you've gone.
Right. You don't have to stop and say hello. It's an added benefit.
Exactly. We'll be back right after this. Everything old is new again. Good. Everything old is new again to continue all things pop culture quarantine.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
This is Johnny B. Bad, the bad man of World Championship Wrestling, and you're listening to David and Douglas. They're so outrageous, it's contagious, and everything old is new again.
There we go. That's a friend of the show, Mark Merrill. We're making a lot of friends of the show, inviting people back for a second visit. He was just here last weekend, David. I know you missed that show, but he was inspiring to tell us all what to do with our kids and kind of what we're doing now, but more of an inspirational level. He was a good guest. So we're back here, and everything old is new again. We are trying to navigate through the quarantine and see what we can do to solve and achieve our mission impossible, to let the boredom subside and try to figure out what to do here during all of this time. And one thing that I think is kind of fun, and I did this when I went to California right after law school, and I met a young lady, whatever, long story short, we had a lot of time together, and one of the things we did, and I never thought that this would be interesting, and I haven't done it since, we bought like
Careful, Doug.
I think it was 1,000-piece puzzle. It may have been more, but I'm going to say 1,000.
I thought you were going in a different direction.
I know.
Especially when you say you haven't done it in a long time.
That could apply to lots of things. And along those lines, one thing that I miss very dearly is I'm trying to segue back to is the 1,000-piece puzzle. Find they're, by the way, they're I went online. They're expensive now. They're like $80. I couldn't believe this, but maybe it's only because I looked at for Marvel comics and those kind of puzzles. But you cannot do it in one night. It takes a long time to do it because they're small pieces and it's really a project. But I know this sounds weird. Maybe I don't know if this works with you, but sitting there at the table doing a puzzle with the family or with somebody else, and you get a piece, you get a kick out of it. You have time to talk about stuff. You have time to have a drink. You have time to slow down and talk while doing this project. You do get to know people pretty well. It's kind of fun. It sounds weird, doesn't it? But it's actually fun.
No. We had done that when my son was younger. We had worked on a few puzzles. We have 2 cats, unfortunately, so we had to hide the puzzle. It was getting to be a pain in the neck. Bottom line is we were never able to finish it, but it was something that the family does together and works. You're also working together as a team, even though maybe you're mostly silent. So it's helping that sort of dynamic as well. I think it's a great idea. And I doubt you need to spend as much as you did on puzzles. But they're generally available, and it's great to do. And you can also frame it when you're done, right? It's a memory of the times that you went through together.
Great idea. I had a friend of mine did that 1,000-piece puzzle, and at the end they were missing 2 pieces. So a little, it's really amazing, and it can happen, if you're not careful. But
plus, I guess you could order the same puzzle. But then you'd have to search through 1,000 pieces to find the 2 that were missing. And who's to say that they're not missing from every box, right?
And that's exactly what this person did, though. My buddy, he did exactly what you said. He wanted just the 2 pieces. He was going to take a picture and tell them which 2 pieces. They were like, no, we'll send you a whole nother puzzle for free. Knock yourself out. Which he did. It was another project, but they did.
Did he find the 2 pieces?
They found it, and they went on their way.
Good.
I mean, you can do it. It was another couple of hours to do that. You just take each piece.
Yeah, that's true. It's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
But when you put that much time in, why wouldn't you, put a few more hours in and look for the last 2 pieces?
Correct.
On the topic of puzzles,
yes.
If you're alone, like I essentially have been for a few weeks now and will continue to be, and that can get, into your head a little bit, just the isolation. But you can do a jigsaw puzzle on your own and pretend that you're doing it with someone, have a conversation with an invisible person. Or, what I've got involved with, speaking of puzzles lately, is I'm constantly on my phone, except I'm playing Scrabble. Scrabble Go. It's an app. It's a free app you can download. You can play with anybody in the world. It doesn't matter. It's usually one-on-one. But it really, it expands your vocabulary. It's a game. There's strategy involved, you'll find. And it's a good way to keep your brain occupied, which is a very important thing to do during these times, right?
Yes. There's a couple other things come to mind when you say that. There is, if you like baseball, you can draft it's an old-time baseball. You could draft a team. They give you a budget, $40 million. You can draft anybody from baseball that ever played the game. You look up the stats, and you come up with a team, whether it's Babe Ruth or whoever, it's on your team, and they're playing with Jerry Grody, let's say, and they're playing with all different players. You got to do it within a budget, and then they have a season, and they have a virtual season of baseball. So every day,
it's fantasy baseball.
Yes. What happens is, like the next day, you wake up, and whenever you turn the screen on, the game was played. You can look at the box score. You can see what happened in the game. Did you win or not, and why? And there's strategy to it. So that's kind of a solo thing that you could do for fun.
And it's all, I guess they're all based on algorithms and stats and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
The virtual games that are being played.
Exactly. Correct. But it's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Another thing that's interesting to me that I've done along those lines is it's not even long. It's more the puzzle line, kind of more of just forgetting the technology for a moment. Is I bought an old, it's a new pack. It's a put it this way, it's an old wooden boat. Constitution, the USS Constitution, and it's a tremendous project to put together a wooden ship from scratch from these boxes, and they just give you little pieces, and you got to do all the different things, and it's really a lot of fun. Together? You glue it together piece by piece. It takes a long time. Yes, and when you're done, it is tremendous.
Yeah. Wait, did you finish?
I finished one, and I'm on the second one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have it I'd love to see it.
Short answer is yes, but we moved when I did this originally, and it broke in many pieces. So the new one I'll let you look at in progress, and then you'll see it done probably a year from now. It takes a long time.
It's not the kind in the bottle, right, where you pull the string and get the sales going up? Okay.
But it is, I'm telling you, if you're into that, you will start to get so involved, you'll do it every day, and you can. The stress is gone. The world is gone when you got to find that cannon and put it on the side of the ship, and make the keel and get the all the different things you have to do. I'm telling you, it is really fun, especially if you're doing it with somebody else. But by yourself is cool too. I did it in high school. I did one in high school as well. Just listening to it might have been just me. I'm nuts because I would put on the radio and listen to the radio while doing it. Maybe a Radio Mystery Theater show or a show like Everything Old is New Again, and just listen to that while doing the building the ship. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. So
good idea.
That's that. There certainly is television and movies that are out there, although Hollywood's shut down and there's nothing new coming out. So we're going to look to revisit things that maybe you've ignored, maybe your kids haven't seen, maybe you haven't seen. It's been some time. Has anyone not seen, I'm going to say 3 because the fourth one I didn't like, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies? Is it possible? My kids haven't. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a great Saturday afternoon kind of thing with popcorn at the house and throw a movie like that in.
Plus, a lot of the networks are running completely free subscriptions right now, trials. Like I know HBO is one of them. So you can just, do a free 30-day or however long it is subscription to these and look for movies as well as TV shows like Indiana Jones. So it's out there and it's available probably now easier to access than it will be in the future.
And also, Disney and Universal are releasing, I don't know if they can do it at this point forward, but movies that were kind of stuck in the theaters when this stuff started to happen. Like, I think it's called, is it Outward? The newest Disney animation, Pixar animation. And so you can get a movie that's technically in the theaters on your TV at home now. So it was like $20, but it was brand new, out only I don't know, 3-4 weeks, and it was a real good movie. I was not looking forward to this at all. It didn't look that great, and it turned out to be a really good movie. We really enjoyed. I think it's called Outward. I'm so bad.
I think you're right.
With the elves and stuff, but it had a great lesson. It was fun, funny. All the whole family enjoyed it. So, I mean, just for kicks, if you're looking for something new, that's new. But there's not much new movies coming out now, so you got to revisit things you haven't seen that's already been released. But like you say, you can get from HBO, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, for example, you could binge that. That'll keep you busy for quite a while.
Yeah, all those old great series, The Wire, Sopranos, they're all out there.
Right.
But there's some good TV, streaming service limited series that are out right now, I think, that are very popular. If you have Netflix or, Amazon Prime.
Right. You can also get the CBS has got, and here we're going to go, but down this road, but you can get any and every Star Trek episode ever, Star Trek movie. Of course, you've got Picard just came out. You've got the 3rd season of Discovery coming out. You also
Are they offering it for free for a while?
I think, yes, they are. So you can get that for free. So they're worthwhile, although I have to say that I agree with the critique, especially of Picard, that it is not Star Trek. I'm sorry, it's not Star Trek.
But it's still Star Trek?
Picard, the entire series. It's not Star Trek. It's not the theme of Star Trek. It doesn't carry forward the humanist values of Star Trek. It's
which one?
Picard. It's called Picard.
The series is called Picard?
Yes.
Is he in it?
Yes, he is.
And he's saying it has nothing to do. It's just not Star Trek.
It's not Star Trek as we know it. Let's put it that way. And on that note,
but Picard was the captain.
Yes, but it's 20 years later he's retired, and I'm just telling you that the writers have lost their way. It's not Star Trek. Star Trek is.
He's trashing the show that he's in.
Yeah. No, I'm saying this.
Oh, I thought you said he's saying it.
No, he thinks he's doing the greatest thing in the world. We'll be back after this. Everything Old is New again.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything Old is New Again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Hi, I'm John Billingsley, Dr. Phlox from Starship Enterprise. You are listening to Everything Old is New Again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen, masters of the art of radio. I can't wait to be on your show again, and I am not saying that only because you plugged my charity repeatedly.
Hi, this is Butch Patrick, and you're listening to Everything Old is New Again.
We sure are, and we're back. How about those promos, David Cohen?
Cool. Eddie from the Munsters.
And, of course, your favorite,
Listen,
Dr. Phlox from the Enterprise.
Yeah, you have to understand something, Doug. Not everyone in the country is a Trekkie. They're not as up on Star Trek as you are.
By the
time... No, hold on. Let me just say something. They're not, just to be totally clear...
Yes.
They are not nearly as up on Star Trek as you think they are or should be.
That's correct.
So, and I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that the actor was trashing his own series, Picard, but that's your take on it.
Correct.
Okay,
my take on Picard is that it's entertaining. It's a terrible ending to the story of Jean-Luc Picard, and it doesn't have the values or the interest and the storylines that Star Trek is supposed to have to be Star Trek. But unto itself, if you never saw Star Trek and you watch Picard, I think you would enjoy it. But if you're a Star Trek fan, you're going to be like, well, this is not, it's fine, but this is not Star Trek.
What does Picard do in retirement? I mean, we're going to watch him go fishing or play shuffleboard? Why am I interested in Picard after he retires?
Good question, and I'm not going to defend it, so I'm not going to answer that question. And they've renewed it for a couple of seasons. But I was impressed with the Mandalorian. What the heck is it called? The Star Wars one, Mandalorian?
Yeah, Mandalorian.
That's a good one. And listen, Star Trek Discovery is good. You're going to hear all this stuff. I don't care. Star Trek Discovery is a good show. So is the Orville, who's coming back. Third season in a couple of weeks from Hulu. It's on Hulu now. Now, David Cohen, during this time, there is something else. How about cooking? We made fun a little bit earlier, but you
don't. I get to talk about TV shows, or just you get to talk?
No, you have some in mind. Let's hear. I thought you did.
Well, there's some popular ones that I've watched just because I've heard they're popular, and they probably will continue to be. So if you have Netflix, there's The Tiger King, which is a very popular. I think it's like a 7-part documentary on these rivalries that develop between these owners of these like semi-legal zoos that contain tigers and other big cats. One of them was accused of taking out a hit on the other. The owners, it's just like this is crazy, incredibly true story. It's sort of like a guilty pleasure kind of thing, and it's extremely popular right now. For those of us who are not into Star Trek or Star Wars, you might want to watch it. It might be worth your time.
What else? You have any others?
Yeah, there's that. I mean, just me personally, I've been watching some shows that I've gotten into that I think are really high quality. I got into watching The Crown, about the royal family over in Great Britain. It's not the same, it's not action-packed kind of shoot 'em up or crime-related or anything like that. But it's well acted, it's well written, and there was a lot going on over there in the UK with the royal family that I had no idea about. And it starts from Queen Elizabeth before she even became queen. And they really, sort of recreate life back then, and within the royal family, it sort of gives you a glimpse into what it was like then, and probably what it was like shortly thereafter. Really fascinating, and really a great way to learn something as well as just be entertained and pass the time.
I'll go for that. My parents have talked about that one as well. They just tuned that in very recently and are raving about it. So there's one. Some of these shows you miss. Like if you don't get in on the ground floor on some of these shows, you sort of let it go, and meanwhile it could be a very good show, but you're sort of like I'm not into it, because you sort of want to discover yourself as something weird like that. But that doesn't that's kind of sounds good. That wouldn't be a bad one. How about this one? Have you heard of Forged in Fire?
I've heard of it. What is it?
It is addicting like you cannot believe.
Is it a competition?
It is a competition. It's like that Chopped show. Have you seen Chopped?
Yeah.
So you've got 3 judges, and you've got 4 contestants, and then they narrow it down to 3, and then 2, and then 1. And what they do is it's ridiculous. They forge out of every show it's different metal materials. They give these forgers, I don't know what you call these people, furriers, whatever, and blacksmiths, another word for them, and they are told to make a certain kind of knife and then they challenge the knife and its strength and how sharp it is and all that. And then later on in the show, the grand prize winning is $10,000, and it's down to the final 2 contestants, and they go to their home forge, and they are given 4 days to make a specific piece or knife from history. And they've got to recreate it. All different civilizations. I can't believe how many knives there were. And this is on like the 7th season already.
Really? What do you remember? What network it's on?
It's on History, Forged in Fire, and I'm telling you, it is so interesting how you make these
definitely
things.
Check it out.
And you learn all about it, and then you eventually know what a guy did wrong, or a guy. If girls do it too, a guy or gal what they did wrong, and you go, that's not going to work, and you become. You really become sort of an armchair, expert as to how. It's just great. It's a lot of fun. I watch that one during lunch all the time. I don't know why it's associated with lunch, but all of a sudden that's what I do. That's my guilty pleasure. There's another one, Below Decks. Have you seen or heard of this?
Below Decks, no.
Luxury yachts. These huge yachts that are rented out, I think $100,000 for a week. And there's a crew on it. And Below Decks, of course, is the crew, not the people that have rented it. So every week there's a different group that comes on that rents the yacht. But the show is about a reality show about the crew below decks and what goes on in between serving the filet mignon and champagne.
Oh, that's really interesting. And is that what network is that on? Do you remember?
I can't recall what the heck that network is.
But it's called Below
Decks.
Something like My 600-Pound Life, which I'm a big fan of.
No, because I've never heard of it. I could be, but I don't know what that is.
Oh, come on now.
No,
come on. They had to stop production because of the virus and all that now. But it's a show. It's called My 600-Pound Life. There's this doctor, Dr. Now. It's a shortened name. He's a doctor, I think, of Iranian descent. But every week they focus on a person who is at least 600 pounds. And they show them at home, and they show them their interactions with Dr. Now. And the goal is to get them, get this, to below 600 pounds so that they can qualify for bariatric surgery, which is reduction in the size of the stomach, so they can start getting on with their lives. And it's all about their challenge to go from however much they weigh when the show starts to below 600 pounds. And it is it's graphic. There's no holds barred. These people agree. I guess they get paid, or they get the doctor sessions paid for appearing on the show. But it's a guilty pleasure as well of mine. But also it makes you feel a lot better about yourself when you're watching these people. That's for sure. So my 600-pound life, it's interesting, even if you just watch one or two.
So even if you're ordered in a pepperoni pizza and you're watching while eating the pepperoni pizza, you still feel good about yourself, I guess.
You would not believe what it takes to maintain someone's weight when you're over 600 pounds.
What do you
Just
think about that?
The number of calories to maintain the weight or to increase the weight is more than you and I literally probably eat in about a week. It's amazing.
And that's in a day. What drives someone to eat? I mean, I understand being overweight, but what drives someone?
A lot of it's psychological.
Yes.
You end up finding out in most cases it's psychological. Something happened in their lives, some sort of trauma, their upbringing, something like that. But 9 times out of 10, they will also have an enabler living with them, a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a parent or somebody who actually goes out and makes the runs for them, supplies the food.
All right. Well, anyone that's listening that has any ideas for shows or want to tell us or add to this idea as to what to do at home, please email us at oldnewagain@aol.com. That's oldnewagain@aol.com. Or go to our website, communicate directly through the website. The website is everythingoldisnewagain.biz. That's everythingoldisnewagain.biz. We will call you and we will have you on the show if we like what the idea is and so forth. But try to do that. Maybe that'll be something to do while you're in the quarantine, is think of a show for Everything Old is New Again, and you could be a co-host. So do it, but you got to do it soon because we're looking to do this next week. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So get on it now. Right, David?
Reach out to us. That's going to be really fun. It's a great opportunity we're providing for people who have ideas for the show and actually want to come on and participate with us. It'll be your show,
right?
And we'll be the co-host.
Exactly. That'll work, right?
Or something like that.
I'll play a clip here and there, and I'll get you in and out of the commercials. But other than that, it's yours. Speaking of which, cooking real quick, I just want to recommend, and I would never think I would have recommended this, I took a recipe from Gordon Ramsay for a shrimp scampi. Is unbelievable. He's terrific.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, I forgot to send it to you. And there's another guy for smoked chicken. Smothered chicken. His name is, or the website, what do I call it when it's on YouTube? Whatever. The handle on YouTube is Smokin with an I-N. Smokin and Grillin' Wit, W-I-T-A-B. He's a big guy. He's a goofy guy, but you know what? A great recipe for smothered chicken. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. So there's some ideas. David Cohen, we were out of time.
That was fun.
Yeah. We'll be back next week to talk all things pop culture, entertainment, maybe quarantine. It depends if someone gets in touch with us or many get in touch with us, some good ideas. We could split the show.
Yeah, we're just sitting around. Call us, please.
Right. We'll be back next week. Same bat what is it? What did I say? Same bat channel, same bat time. I got it wrong, but whatever.